Very good afternoon. Very good afternoon to everyone. On behalf of Vignan Institute of Pharmaceutical Technology, myself, Dr. S. Satchalakshmi, working as an associate professor, HOD of Pharmaceutics, welcomes you all for the national webinar conducted on 3D printing technology in drug delivery. First of all, I would like to thank today's speaker, Dr. S. Srinivasapatro, working as Head of Pharmaceutical Technology under University Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, for accepting our invitation. Thank you very much, sir. It's my honor and privilege to welcome the Chief Patron, Dr. L. Rattaya Garu, Chairman of Vignan Group of Institutions, and I welcome patrons Sri L. Sri Krishna Devarayal Garu, Vice Chairman, and Honorable Member of Parliament Lok Sabha. I would like to welcome the patrons, Sri N. Srikant Garu, CEO, Vignan Group of Institutions, Vizag, and I welcome Professor Y. Srinivas Rao Garu, Principal of Vignan Institute of Pharmaceutical Technology, Visakhapatnam. I welcome all the faculty of Vignan Institute of Pharmaceutical Technology and faculty of other colleges and universities and students of our college and various institutions, and I welcome all the organizing committee members. Welcome you all for this national webinar. Now I request our principal, Dr. Y. Srinivas Rao Garu, Professor and Principal of Vignan Institute of Pharmaceutical Technology, to give a brief note on today's webinar. Over to you, sir.
Hello.
Sir. Sir, please unmute your mic, sir.
Hello.
Okay, sir.
Hello.
Sir.
Is it audible?
Yes, sir. Audible, sir.
Okay. First of all, I thank to the convener of today's. He is the head of the Department of Pharmaceutics. And secondly, I thank to the S. Srinivas Patra Garu. Yeah, once upon a time, he is also one of my senior at Andhra University. Now he is working faculty members and students. Very good afternoon to all of you. Today we are conducting this is one of the novel method using various applications of pharma industry during the development of the formulation. So my dear faculty members and students, we have to utilize this novel technology with respect to the 3D printing today's webinar, and we have to utilize the expert from Malaysia and a friend of S. Srinivas Patra Garu, and definitely this webinar may be useful to formulation development in drug delivery systems. Now, Madam, hand over to the guest for conducting proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your introductory remarks. Now I request Professor G. Chandrasekhar Rao Garu to give a brief note and objective of today's webinar.
Good afternoon. to Dr. S. Srinivas Patra Garu, Head, University of Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, Dr. Y. Srinivas Rao Garu, Principal, Vignan Institute of Pharmaceutical Technology, Visakhapatnam, my colleagues, dear students, and dear participants. Today we all joined the Zoom meeting for a webinar on 3D printing. Today marks another memorable day in the history of Vignan Institute of Pharmaceutical Technology, Visakhapatnam. Pharmaceutical sciences is a multidisciplinary science. So basic subjects like chemistry, physics, biology, material science, mechanical engineering, and chemical engineering have great contributions in the development of pharmaceutical sciences. Apart from the contributions of these traditional subjects, we also have the reflections of information technology in pharmaceutical technology. So under this, artificial intelligence in drug delivery, robotics in drug delivery, and 3D printing in drug delivery are the important reflections of information technology in pharmaceutical technology. 3D printing technology in drug delivery is a worthwhile topic for us. So the present webinar is concerned about the basic ideas in 3D printing and their applications in drug delivery. I request all the participants to be aware of this objective and cooperate with the organizers. Regarding the resource person, Dr. S. Srinivas Patra Garu, the head in the University of Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. He is a dedicated and committed professional in the field of pharmacy. I got a great opportunity to work with him in Roland Institute of Pharmaceutical Sciences during the period of 2000 to 2007. So we have many discussions and interactions at that time. So with this relationship, when I requested him to take a small webinar, he immediately accepted the proposal. I am very much thankful to Dr. S. Srinivas Patra Garu for accepting our invitation instead of his busy schedule. Finally, I wish all the best for today's webinar. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Now I invite Ms. K. Srilekhya, working as Assistant Professor in Vignan Institute of Pharmaceutical Technology, to introduce today's speaker. Srilekhya, over to you.
Good afternoon, one and all. It is my immense pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Dr. Sisinthi Srinivas Patra. Dr. Sisinthi Srinivas Patra completed his B.Pharm in Roland Institute of Pharmaceutical Sciences, Berhampur in 1997 and completed his M.Pharm in Andhra University in 2000. He pursued his doctorate from Berhampur University in 2008 and he has a working experience as a professor and vice principal in Roland Institute of Pharmaceutical Sciences, Berhampur during 1998 to 2011. He served as an honorary lecturer at Cardiff University, United Kingdom from 2011 to 2014. Also worked as a senior lecturer, head, Department of Pharmaceutical Technology and Program Director of Bachelor of Pharmacy Program in School of Pharmacy, Taylor's University, Malaysia during 2014 to 2019. He is currently working as a head pharmaceutical technology discipline with Faculty of Pharmacy and Health Sciences, Royal College of Medicine, Perak, University Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. His research areas are nanoemulsions and nanofiber-based drug delivery systems and supervised 15 postgraduate and PhD students. He published more than 40 research publications and book chapters in highly renowned journals, and also presented the research findings at various national and international conferences held in Malaysia, Singapore, Philippines, and Indonesia. Thank you.
Thank you, Srilekhya, for your introduction. about the speaker. Now I invite Professor S. Srinivasa Patro to take over the session. Sir, over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you, madam. Just to confirm, are my slides visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So a very good afternoon to all of you. So at the outset, I wish to thank Vignan Institute of Pharmaceutical Technology and its organizers for giving me this opportunity to present some ideas on 3D printing technology and drug delivery. Okay, so let me start. So as has already been briefed that I am working with Faculty of Pharmacy and Health Sciences, University of Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. And this university is in a city known as Ipoh. Okay, so for those who are not that familiar with the map of Malaysia, so this is what the map of Malaysia looks like. So majorly it has two big islands joined together, and Malaysia has around 13 states and 3 federal territories. Those federal territories are like union territories in India. So if you see here, I am the city where I'm working is Ipoh here. See, this is around 200 kilometers from Kuala Lumpur, the capital of Malaysia. And this part is called as the West Malaysia, and this part is called as the East Malaysia. So in order to travel from East Malaysia to West Malaysia, there is no roadways. So if we want to travel, we have to go by flight. So here in East Malaysia, there are 2 states and there is 1 federal territory over here, 1 small island. There is the Kuala Lumpur and there is another territory called as Putrajaya. So these are the 2 federal territories which are present on West Malaysia. So this is just a brief information for those who are not that much familiar with the Malaysian geography. So this is the campus where I'm working. This is called as the Royal College of Medicine, Perak, University Kuala Lumpur in Ipoh. Actually, our university is not confined to Ipoh only, but it has got 12 campuses. Basically, this is an engineering university, but also got some health-related courses. So Ipoh campus is basically related to medical and health sciences, where medicine, pharmacy, nursing, physiotherapy, medical imaging programs are being offered. Remaining all campuses are basically engineering campuses. Okay, so just to get an idea, may I know among the participants whether you are an undergraduate student, postgraduate student, or an academic staff, or any other category? If possible, can you log into using any browser www.classpoint.app and join with this code? Just for my information. You can use your phone or laptop or iPad and open any browser and please join this app, ClassPoint, join ClassPoint and join it with this code 27142. That's good. I'm getting some responses. Okay, I'm giving, maybe we can wait for another couple of minutes to just collect the responses, just to get an idea. Okay, it's okay. So I'm closing the session. It's good to know that there is an equitable distribution of B Farm or undergraduate, postgraduate, and academic staff. Okay. Okay, so thank you very much for all those who have participated. So you can just keep the browser open. You may have some questions in the middle. Okay. Maybe the next question. What is your level of knowledge on today's topic, 3D printing technology in drug delivery? How do you rate your knowledge on 3D printing? Can you just pick one option from the following options using the same uh, app, ClassPoint? Can you respond using the same app? Okay, I'm closing the submission. Thank you all who have responded. It's good to know that many of you are having some basic knowledge and some are also having working knowledge. So let's see how much we can improve our basic knowledge. Okay, so thank you very much for participating. So this is the outline of my presentation. So we'll start with some basic introduction. Then we'll go and have an overview of different types of 3D printing processes which are commonly used. Then we'll see some of the applications, especially the applications in drug delivery and some of the limitations and constraints. And finally, with some conclusions. Okay, so let's start with the introduction. So now we are in the age of Industrial Revolution 4.0, which signifies a radical shift in generally manufacturing. Okay, so the key characteristics of Industry 4.0 are, as mentioned in the slides, are augmented reality, cloud computing, simulation, Internet of Things, system integration, autonomous robots, cybersecurity, big data, and additive manufacturing. This additive manufacturing, actually, Industry 4.0 is basically data-driven. So this manufacturing is also nowadays being shifting towards data-driven manufacturing. And additive manufacturing is data-driven manufacturing. What is additive manufacturing? We will just come across soon. Okay, so this is the 3D. So let's start with the 3D printing technology in drug delivery. Basically, 3D printing is also known as additive manufacturing, or there is another name called as rapid prototyping. So additive manufacturing is the official industrial standard term. Okay, so the official term is additive manufacturing, but the commonly used term is 3D printing. Okay, so in simple words, we can define like this. It is defined as the process of joining materials to make objects from a 3D model data, which is generated by a computer, usually layer upon layer, as opposed to subtractive manufacturing methodologies. Okay, so there are different types of manufacturing. So basically, we'll be discussing two types, the top-down approach and the bottom-up approach. The top-down approach is also called the material removal. Okay, so suppose you want to prepare a screw. So you start with a block of metal, then you start removing parts of it, which is unwanted. Gradually, we will be ending up with the product which we want. Okay, so what you had done, we have slowly started removing some materials from the block. Okay, so this is material removal. So this is also called as subtractive manufacturing. Okay, so here if you see a sculptor carving out a statue from a rock, so it is also subtractive manufacturing. And if you see the magnificent ancient rock cut temple, cave complex of Ellora, this is also called as Kailasa temple. This is also a marvelous structure. And this whole temple has been carved out from a single rock. Okay, so this is also an analog of subtractive manufacturing. On contrary, there is a bottom-up approach known as material addition, unlike the previous one, that is the material removal. Okay, so here what we do, we start with one layer and go on adding layer by layer till the final object is obtained. Okay, so this is called as additive manufacturing. So we are adding layer by layer. So this 3D printing technology in drug delivery, this is an emerging technology. Okay, how we can know something as emerging or not? So if we type some key words like 3D printing and drug delivery in any of the search engines like lens.org, if you see, the output is somewhat like this. So gradually, it has started from somewhere in 1990s, okay, and over a period of 20 years, the graph has increased exponentially. So it shows that this is an emerging technology. So these are the scholarly works. Similarly, if you see the patents, we observe a similar trend, okay, exponential growth in the number of patents applied and granted. Okay, so with this brief introduction, let's move to the overview of different 3D printing processes. So there are many types of 3D printing technologies, okay, also called as additive manufacturing processes.
You just leave the hall, go.
Okay, so but we will be focusing on some of the important technologies like material extrusion, wet polymerization, powder-based fusion, and binder jetting. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so if we go to any of these techniques, the basic workflow is like this, basic process. Okay, first we will create a computer assisted design based 3D model. Okay, we have to create a model using a particular software. That model, the file we have to convert to a STL file. Okay, if we convert to an STL file, it will be easy to slice that object into layers. Okay, so in some softwares, both designing and slicing will be happening at the same time, but for some machines, we need a different software. So once it is sliced, then this data is fed into the printer, and then the printer print the objects. Okay, so once the object is finally printed, if it is not needed, we can use as such. Otherwise, if it is needed, we can do an finishing. Okay, end part finishing. Finally, we'll get the product. So this is a pictorial representation of how a object is printed layer by layer. Okay, using fuse deposition modeling. This is one of the technique. Okay, FDM. This is a commonly used technique. So fuse deposition modeling, also known as fused filament fabrication. Fused filament fabrication. Okay, so this is the commonly used technique where an object is built by selectively depositing melted material in a predetermined path layer by layer. So materials used for or materials that are required for this technique are mostly thermoplastic polymers, and that comes in a filament form. Okay, so if you see here, filaments like this are already available for normal purposes, but for drug delivery, we have to create filaments. Okay, so we can create the filaments. Okay, so this is how filaments can be produced or prepared by using normally extruders. Okay, so normally we use hot melt extrusion techniques. So using the similar type of extruders, either it is a single screw type or in screw types, we can produce filaments out of the polymers using different types of extruders. Okay, so these are some of the commercially available filament extruders. Okay, so this is Welzoom company. Okay, so this is 3Devo company here. This is a Protocycler. These are the different companies which produces filament makers. Okay, so we are discussing about the fuse deposition modeling process. Okay, so this is the schematic presentation of the process. So here, first of all, we have to take a spool of thermoplastic filament, okay, which is first loaded into the, so this is the filament, which is loaded in, first of all, the printer. Then this filament is sent to a extrusion head, okay, with the extrusion nozzle, where it can be heated. Okay, when the filament is heated, it gets melted. It gets melted, and that molten filament is extruded. It deposits onto the base. Okay, this is the part we support, and there the product is printed. Okay, any product which we desire. So the melted material is extruded as thin strands. and is deposited layer by layer in predetermined location where it cools and solidifies. Okay. And when the layer is finished, the build platform moves down, or in some machines, it moves up. Okay. And a new layer is deposited. So this process is repeated until the part is complete. Okay, so this is again a video graphic presentation of 3D printing of theophylline tablets by FDM technique. Okay, so this printer is by MakerBot, a 3D printing company. This is how the tablet can be printed. Okay, for FDM technology, the commonly used polymers, as I mentioned, these are thermoplastic polymers. We can use any of these polymers like polyvinyl alcohol, polylactic acid, polycaprolactone, or some cellulose-derived polymers like HPC, hydroxypropyl cellulose, methyl cellulose, HPMC, acetyl succinate, and different types of eudragits. All can be employed to prepare filaments for 3D printing using FDM technology. So the next technique is stereolithography. In short, it is called as SLA. So this is the first, in fact, this is the first 3D printing technology, and its inventor has patented the technology way back in 1986. Okay, quite old. So here an object is created by selectively curing a polymer resin. So here we take a polymer resin and we have to cure it, okay, by using laser, okay, by using a UV laser beam. And this also happens layer by layer. All the technology which we will be discussing today are all additive manufacturing process. So this is all layer by layer getting deposited. And here the polymers which we need is photosensitive thermoset polymers, okay? Unlike the previous technique where we are using thermoplastics, so here we will be using thermosetting polymers, and that should be photosensitive. Mostly they come in a liquid form, okay? And using this technology, it provides very high accuracy or smooth surface finish, okay, by using this technique. So here he is Chuck Hull. He is the co-founder and executive vice president and chief technology officer of 3D Systems. This is a 3D printing company. He is the founder, and he is also considered as the father of 3D printing. Okay. So this is the schematic presentation of 3D printing by SLA method or stereolithography. Okay, so here, first of all, the resinous layer is spread on a platform, and then so this build platform is first positioned into the tank of liquid of a photopolymer. We take the photopolymer in a tank, okay, and a build platform is positioned over the tank at a distance of one layer height, okay. So then a UV beam is sent. If you see here, a UV beam is sent to this layer. So as per the design, that part of the layer gets cured, okay. So the UV laser creates the next layer by selectively curing and solidifying the photopolymer resin, and this is repeated, and total when it is finished, the platform moves to a safe distance. Okay, so this process is repeated till the part is complete. Okay, so unlike FDM technology, so this here the polymers are irreversible. Okay, so these are thermoset polymers. So therefore the process is irreversible, and there is no way we can convert back to their liquid form. When heated, they will burn instead of melting. Okay, so this technique actually, as I mentioned earlier, that it can produce finished products, okay, with good finish. So SLA parts can be finished to a very high standard using post-processing methods, such as sanding and polishing, spray coating, and finishing with a mineral oil. Okay, so this is a video representing how to prepare some of the tablets by stereolithography technique. So this is a printer, stereolithographic printer by Formlabs. Okay, so we move to the third technique called a selective laser sintering. In short, it is called as SLS. So SLS or selective laser sintering is a AM process. Okay, whenever I call AM process, this is almost same as 3D printing that belongs to powder bed fusion family. Okay, so we'll be using the powder bed as the material. So here a laser, here also we'll be using a laser like stereolithography. A laser selectively sinters the particles of a powder, polymer powder, fusing them together and then building layer by layer. Okay. So like FDM, here also we'll be using thermoplastic polymers that come in a granular form. Okay. And it offers a very high degree of freedom, high accuracy, and produces parts with good and consistent mechanical properties. Okay, good mechanical properties. They are quite strong. Okay, so this is the principle.
మెంబర్స్ ఉన్నారు మ్యామ్ మెయిల్ లో కూడా చాలా మంది ఎవరు అడుగుతున్నారు
So here a powder material is heated to just below its melting point and then spread on into an even layer over a building platform. If you see here, a powder material is first of all, this is coming, a powder material is being placed as a layer. Okay, onto this layer, laser is being shown as per the design. It gets sintered. Okay, so a pulsating laser draws a cross section of the CAD model in the powder, which causes the powder particles to adhere to each other by sintering, right? So the building platform is then lowered down corresponding to one layer thickness. So it is slowly lowered down after each layer is formed till the final object is formed. Okay, so if we see, and the remaining non-sintered powder material can be reused. Okay, only that powder which has been sintered can be removed and the remaining powder again can be reused. Okay, so here, if you see, we can get very high finished, good finished products at the end. So this is selective laser sintering. And as I mentioned, we can use same thermoplastic polymers. Okay, one of the commonly used polymer is polyamide or nylon. Okay, and polyamide polymers can be used with various additives such as carbon fibers, glass fibers, or aluminum to improve the mechanical and thermal behavior of the product. Okay, so this is again a videograph representation of this process, selective laser sintering. So a powder layer is taken, powder is taken and it is spread as a layer. Then a pulsating laser falls upon the powder layer and that part gets sintered actually. Once it gets sintered, again a new layer of the powder is applied and this process is repeated. Okay. And finally, binder jet printing. Here also we'll be using powder material only. So same thing. The difference between the previous technique and this technique is that in the previous technique for sintering, a laser is used, but here just a binder. We just use a binder, okay, to solidify the powder as per the design. Okay, so first a relocating blade spreads a thin layer of powder over the build platform. Okay, so then a carriage with inkjet nozzles pass over the bed. Okay, that nozzle selectively deposits droplets of the binding agents that glue and bond the powder particles. Together. So the size of each drop which is being applied to the powder is approximately 80 microns in diameter so that a good resolution can be achieved. Okay, so once the process is repeated, the product is finally obtained. Okay, so that after printing, the part is encapsulated in the powder, it is left to cure and gain strength. Okay, then the part is removed from the powder bin and unbound excess powder is cleaned via pressurized air. Okay, so let us revise what we have studied so far. Basically, the first three techniques: FDM technique, SLS stereolithography, and selective laser sintering. Okay, so the FDM technique normally uses continuous filaments of thermoplastic polymers, whereas powder bed fusion uses powders, okay, compact fine powders, and stereolithography, they are photopolymeric resins. FDM technique normally is economical, produces with high speed, and also it is simple to operate. But the drawback of FDM technique is that the product which is obtained is having weak mechanical properties, not very strong. Okay, so mechanically they are very weak and limited materials are available. Okay, that is only thermoplastic polymers and layer by layer finish. Okay, so powder bed fusion, you can get fine resolution. Okay, so resolution is good for both powder bed fusion and stereolithography. But the disadvantages are it's slow. Okay, slow printing. Here it is high speed, but here it is very slow and comparatively it is expensive. Okay, so but this is economical. FDM. Stereolithography is also expensive and slow printing. Okay, but in drug delivery applications, these two techniques are widely used: powder bed fusion and fused deposition modeling, FDM. Okay, so having gone through the different types of 3D printing processes, now let's move to the applications. Okay, and basically in drug delivery. So few people call this 3D printing technology is a myth still. Okay, but what we can see from the literature and the commercial aspects that it is not a myth, it is already into practice. A pharmaceutical company called as Aprecia, okay, they are already preparing tablets by 3D printing technology, okay, and their product is already FDA approved and is available in the market. Okay, so they have prepared an anti-epileptic drug called as levetiracetam, okay, under the brand name of Spritam. Okay, so this is the world's first 3D printed pill, okay, by Aprecia. So they named their company as the 3D printing pharmaceutical company.
Yes, I separate you.
So if you see, so this is their tablet is a porous formulation that rapidly disintegrates with a sip of liquid, making it easier to swallow.
Yeah, we will be also doing the same.
As I told
If you
you,
have a copy of that petition, you can send it to me, sir. We'll do
this is
the
prepared
same
by
way.
bind powder fusion method. Okay. Okay, so there are many studies that have been going on for around last maybe 10 years. So there is a comprehensive review. If you want, you can go through this article called as 3D printing as a promising tool in pharmaceutical in a personalized medicine. Sorry, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So if you see here, tablets, different types of, these are modified release tablets, osmotic tablets, bilayer tablets, gastroretentive tablets, caplets, fast dissolving films, mucoadhesive films, some microneedles, orthodontic retainers, okay, and vaginal rings. Okay, all these have been studied and reported to have good mechanical properties and drug release behavior. Okay, so their special characteristics are mentioned here. They provide modified release, controlled drug release, okay, rapid drug release, combination of different release profiles, okay, sustained release, prolonged release, controlled release. Okay, so using the conventional polymers like HPC, PEO, PVA, HPC, PVA, also cellulose derivatives, eudragites, okay, polylactic acid. So these all are thermoplastic polymers. So that means most of the studies across the world is going on using thermoplastic polymers. That means they are using FDM technology. But the commercially available product is a powder fusion method. Okay, so these are some of the works which have been reported. So this is the effect of geometry on drug release from 3D printed tablets. Okay, so they have prepared different types of geometries. Pyramid shape, normal tablet, rings, okay, spherical, a cube, and they found that each shape has providing different release profiles. Okay. Similarly, so that is a study by fused deposition modeling. So these are the some of the ring shaped tablets, okay, produced by stereolithography. Okay, so this study is 3D printing of oral modified release formulations. So here they have used polyethylene glycol diacrylate and polyethylene glycol PG300 in different proportions. Okay, so when they change the different proportions, the release profile also changes. So this is a study they have done using selective laser sintering. Okay, SLS. They have one study. So these are the two types of tablets. One is paracetamol tablets, another is aspirin tablets. Okay. SLS paracetamol in different concentrations. Okay, all are paracetamol tablets, but first one is prepared with the Colicot IR, and second bottom one is prepared with the Udrogit L100. Okay, so this is an entry-coated polymer. So if you see here, the initial release is very low, and later when it goes to the higher pH in the intestine, the release is a bit fast. Where here it is a Colicot instant release polymer, so therefore the initial release is very high. Okay. Right. So those are different types of tablets prepared by different techniques. Okay. So apart from tablets, there are different types of formulations already studied, Okay. So one such formulation is microneedles. Okay. Okay. You can produce a new drug delivery system by using 3D printing. Okay. So here also these needles are prepared by the FDM technique only. Okay, so this is a FFF 3D printer researchers at University of Texas at Dallas. They have studied and came up with a low-cost method for making microneedle arrays. Okay, so some other applications. So whatever we have studied, those are the drug delivery applications. But in regenerative medicine also, there are multiple applications. Also got application in regenerative medicine. So this is these are the scaffolds of body organs. Okay, like ears, nose, bones. Okay, and so over these scaffolds, what we can do is we can grow in the lab with the live cells. So just to produce the different organs. Okay, so apart from the company which I have already mentioned, that is the Aprecia company. Okay, that is a US-based company. They are producing anti-epileptic drug by 3D printing technique. Okay, at University College London. Okay, so the academics of University College London have created a company called as FabRx in their university only, with a passion for developing better medicines using 3D printing. Okay, so they have established this company in 2014. It is a small startup company, but with a big vision. Okay, so they have patented their technology and they are producing novel and flexible platform for the production of personalized medicines. Okay, so now let's move to some of the limitations. Limitations of 3D printing technology. Okay, so here the basic limitation is the production yield. Okay, so unlike conventional or traditional pharmaceutical companies where the yield can be very high, here still, because it is in infancy state, the yield is very low. Okay, yield is very low at current level. Okay, and also another thing is it's very challenging for the manufacturer to get regulatory approval of a formulated 3D based product. Okay, so because for pharmaceuticals, in order to market, we need regulatory approval. So as of now, there are no specific guidelines. There are no specific guidelines available. Okay, so therefore, it is very challenging to get regulatory approval. But slowly, FDA is coming up with various guidelines. Okay, they have already in 2016 they have already came up with a guideline called as technical considerations for additive manufacturing devices. Okay, so this is additive manufacturing devices, but not for so far. Okay, so these limitations, what we can say is that, so though the rapid advancements of 3D printing technologies, okay, make significant shift from traditional manufacturing, which says that one size fits all, to on-demand personalized dosage forms. Okay, that is providing safe and effective medicines. Okay, so one of the biggest advantage of 3D printing technology is providing personalized dosage forms. Okay, so though currently 3D printing technology is in infancy, but in the near future, it is considered that it may emerge as a promising technology and transform at commercial level to achieve tailor-made release profiles. Right. So with this, I try to provide a brief information about the basic 3D printing techniques and their applications in drug delivery. Okay, so just can you once again open the ClassPoint app and try to answer few questions. So has most of you have told that you have a basic understanding. So can you consider now that you are familiar with the concept? Okay, thank you for your response. It's good to know that we have moved from B to C. Okay, from basic knowledge to familiar with the concept. Okay, just a couple of questions. Can you answer it? Which type of 3D printer uses a pool of resin? To create a solid part? Okay, what I see is that most of you are answering C. C is selective laser sintering. Selective laser sintering, we will be using generally powders. Okay, so that is powder fusion, powder bed fusion. So therefore, the correct answer is stereolithography. Stereolithography SLA technique. We use okay, it's good. Okay, so I'm closing this. Thank you for your participation. Okay, so this one, which one of the following file type is most commonly exported from CAD software for 3D printing? What is the file format? Is it a JPG format, X3G, STL, or SLT? What is the file format? Okay, so okay, I'm closing the submission. It's good to know that 82% of you have answered correctly. The answer is C. The answer is C, that is the STL file. Okay, another question. Which of the following additive manufacturing process produces products with weak mechanical properties? Okay, so thank you very much. Again, 92% have corrected answered correctly. The answer is FDM. As I mentioned during the comparison of the processes, FDM technique is a very commonly used technique, but the mechanical properties are very weak. Okay, so the last question, the following dosage forms can be prepared by additive manufacturing process except Okay, so I'm closing the submission. Actually, most of you have answered D, but I'm afraid D is not the right answer because implantable drug delivery systems means normally they are solid dosage forms only. So solid dosage forms can be prepared by 3D printing. So therefore, the correct answer is liquid dosage forms. Liquid dosage forms cannot be printed by 3D printing process. Okay, mostly we can produce mostly solid, or at best we can produce semi-solids. Okay, semi-solid dosage forms also can be prepared by 3D printing, but not liquid dosage forms. Okay, so the last one. Sorry, list at least 3 things which you have learned from today's webinar. You can just type. I'm asking 3 things. You can go up to any 5 words. Up to 5 you can go, but at least I request you to type 3 things which you have learned from today's webinar. So fused deposition modeling, FDM, 3D printing, stereolithography, gain new knowledge, good. SLA, SLS, nice presentation, thank you, good, informative. Laser 3D printing, new information. Okay, so thank you very much for your inputs. So I'm closing the submission now. This is the word cloud, so maximum. Most of you have written as 3D printing. Okay, so good to know. Okay, so thank you for your participation and thank you for your attention. So before conclusion, this is my conclusion slide. So I want to make you familiar with one word. If you are not, you may be familiar. Okay, so this is a Japanese word called as kintsugi. So kintsugi means in Japan, what they do, if any pot is broken, so what they do, they don't throw away the broken pot. Instead, what they do is that the broken objects are often repaired with gold. So they will cement it with the gold and give a new design to that same old object and reuse it. Okay. So what is the message? The flaw is seen as a unique piece of the object history, which adds to its beauty. So therefore, it's about valuing the imperfect as well as the perfect, whether they are pots or people. Okay. So this term teaches us to embrace our flaws and imperfections, and that sometimes going through tough times will make us stronger and more beautiful. Okay. So with this message and for your active participation, I thank you very much for your attention and also to the organizers for giving me this opportunity to present. Okay. So with this, I'm concluding my talk and I'm open to some questions if you have. Okay. So you can ask me any questions related to today's topic or anything else related to pharmacy or anything related to Malaysia. Okay. So I hand over to the organizers for the question answer session if there are any. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Really, you have enlightened students of various colleges and as well as faculty members regarding this 3D printing technology. Now, I request audience and listeners, if any questions are there, please post in the chat box or otherwise unmute yourself and ask the question from audience side.
Okay, so
Sir,
there
in the
is a
chat box, there is a question
yes,
from PharmD student. What are the possible career opportunities in Malaysia for PharmD students, sir?
Okay. Okay, so thank you very much for the question. It's a good question actually. For PharmD students, it is not only in Malaysia. In the future, PharmD students will have a good scope actually. But though, as I mentioned in my conclusion slide, that this 3D printing technology is at infancy right now, but the research is going at an exponential pace. And mostly 3D printing technology will be having more application in hospitals and community pharmacies. So PharmD students, when they go to hospitals and community pharmacy or clinical pharmacy settings, so they will be having a lot of scope. Okay, coming to Malaysia, so I'm sharing one of my experiences that unlike India, most of the products, medicines are available directly made in or manufactured in companies. But here, if you see in the hospitals, there is a department called as extemporaneous dispensing. So even today in the hospitals of Malaysia, as according to the prescription, the pharmacist prepare the medicines and dispense to the patients as per the need. But this is not there as far as I know in hospitals in India. Hospitals, ready-made medicines manufactured in industries are there. Okay, so when we will be dispensing the medicines to the patients, to the specific patients as per the prescription, so 3D printer will be of much use. Okay, so because 3D printer as on now we cannot produce on a large scale, on a small scale we can prepare. So if a patient needs suppose 10 tablets, 20 tablets, and you have a 3D printer, then you can produce or you can prepare those 10 tablets specifically with a particular dose to that patient and you can dispense. So definitely in the future, there is a lot of scope, and especially in Malaysia, definitely the scope will be there, especially for PharmD students. Hope I answered your
Sir,
question. Yes.
3D printing, how it will affect on the patients? It means in the cost, how it will affect? Because for example, if you take any medicine, it will cost around 200-300 rupees. For if you take 3D printing means, how it will affect on the patients?
You see, the cost is as per the commonly used drugs. Suppose if it is paracetamol tablets, then definitely if we are going for FDM technique, suppose the paracetamol filaments are already available, so just we can use the paracetamol filaments. The cost involved for making the filaments will be very less, but may not be available for all types of drugs, because if we want to prepare by FDM technique, then we have to use, we should have a filament for every drug. So filament for every drug may not be possible. So to start with, filaments with commonly used drugs will be available, and with time, with other drugs also available. But mostly the cost will be not that much as per my opinion.
Okay, different drugs have different filaments, you are
Yes,
saying, right, sir?
we have to prepare. Yes, yes.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you, sir.
So now it is, because it is in infancy, it may seem that it will be a bit expensive, but definitely it will be expensive in the beginning, but with time, I think it will become more and more economical. Is 3D printing possible to do in our labs? Yes, definitely. Definitely. Many labs across the world, many universities are having a 3D printer. And 3D printer nowadays is very bit cheap also. It's not that expensive. For engineering purposes, a simple 3D printer is enough. But for pharmaceuticals, along with the 3D printer, we also need to have a filament maker. Okay, so filament maker, because we have to mix the drug and the polymer together and make the filament first, and that filament has to be fed into the printer. Okay, but for engineering applications, because you just need an object by using a certain polymer, so you can use PVA or PVP or any other polymer, directly the polymer filament, and can print objects. Okay, not only polymers, 3D printers can print many substances, including metals also. Metal printing is also possible. Is it feasible for 3D printing in our curriculum future? In the future, definitely, because every year we have to update our syllabus with the latest techniques, and if we will be not updating our syllabus with the latest technologies, then we will be lagging behind. So curriculum review is the need of the hour. So every year we have to review our curriculum, and we have to see that what are the latest technologies that are in current use, and so that it will be included in the syllabus, so that the students will be benefited and get updated. Software used for 3D printing. Okay, there are different softwares actually. Each company comes up with a software. Suppose there is an widely used 3D printer company called as Ultimaker. Okay, so they are using Cura, C-U-R-A, Cura software. But there are many companies. So I have told you that different types of software. One is to create the 3D model, and then you have to slice it. So some softwares serve both purposes, but otherwise there are some slicer softwares available also. Okay, so there are multiple softwares actually. One I have told you, Cura actually. Thermosensitive polymers are suitable for fused deposition modeling. It depends actually. So because we have to melt the polymer, so thermosensitive polymers cannot be used widely, but there are certain polymers which are having low melting point. So if those low melting point polymers are there, then we can use thermosensitive polymers, but they are not widely used actually, because it has to be molten. So mostly thermoresistance polymers only are used for FDM technology. How long does it typically take to print an object using 3D printer? Like very fast actually. Nowadays, within few minutes, you can produce, especially for drugs, because tablets are very small. Okay, but if you go for large objects, definitely it will take some time. Up to 1 hour it may take. Okay, a large object, but otherwise within hours you can produce many tablets actually. Normally thermosensitive polymers are not suitable actually. Actually, if someone wants to come to Malaysia, just to to say about the Malaysian scenario. In Malaysia, industrial pharmacy is not that much at a higher level actually. They are very far behind India. India is far ahead in industrial pharmacy, pharmaceutical manufacturing actually. So if you want to come to Malaysia, it will be the easiest option is that you go to an industry, gain some experience of 4 to 5 years. With that experience, if you want to come to industry over here, it is quite easy because here there are not much qualified people to run the industries, to work in the industries. But other areas, it is very difficult because if you want to work in hospitals over here, you should be a registered pharmacist in Malaysia. And to become a registered pharmacist in Malaysia, you have to study over here only. So they don't recognize the pharmacy degree except few universities in India. So it is a bit difficult to work in hospitals and communities, but it is easy to work in industries. So just gain some experience in India, and with that limited experience, you can come easily. Good scope in their industry sectors. Can you explain about the cost of 3D printing machine? As I have told you, nowadays 3D printers are available at much cheaper price. So a standard 3D printer here, it costs around 20 to 25,000, means 3 to 4 lakhs rupees it will come. 3 to 4 lakhs rupees a standard machine will come. But a DIY machine you can get in few, like even 25, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 rupees also. If you want to use a 3D printer for at your home or at your lab, you can get it with very cheap rate. But if you want to have a standard machine, you may get around 4 to 5 lakhs. Is 3D printing have any side effects? 3D printing is just a technology only. We will be using we'll be using our drugs and polymers. So that too, we will be following the good manufacturing practice. So there is no such side effect for 3D printing. Okay, the side effect is related to the drug.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Yes,
We
madam.
will close this question and answer session.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your information, sir. You have cleared almost all the doubts of our audience. Thank you
Hopes.
so much, sir. Now I request Professor P.V. Kamal Kumari, IQAC Coordinator of Vignan Institute of Pharmaceutical Technology, to propose oath of thanks.
Good evening, all. On behalf of Vignan Institute of Pharmaceutical Technology, I take this opportunity to propose vote of thanks to those who have directly and indirectly contributed to this webinar on 3D printing technology in drug delivery. At the outset, I thank today's renowned speaker, Dr. Sisintha Srinivas Patro sir, Faculty of Pharmacy and Health Sciences, Royal College of Medicine, Perak, University Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, for sparing his valuable time out of his busy schedule and enlightening us. Thank you for enlightening us with your knowledge, sir. Today's webinar was full of cognitive and interesting things. It gave deep insights into the topic and also revealed some interesting facts. We are very interested in seeing the videograph technology on 3D printing of theophylline tablets by FDM, stereolithography SLA, and selective laser sintering technology, sir. That was a very good information provided by you to all the students, the faculty members who are presenting or who are involved in the webinar, sir. We are very thankful to patrons, chief patrons, and heads of various institutions, and particularly Vignan Institute of Pharmaceutical Technology. And I also thank convener and co-convener for organizing this webinar. And I would like to thank our principal, sir, for his enthusiastic support, and a special thanks to organizing committee, teaching staff, for their unflinching support. And I also thank heartfelt thanks to our students for their active participation. With these warm words and a kind message, we move to the end of today's webinar. Thank you one and all.
Hello, Papra.
Yes.
How are you? This is Dr. Srinivas, scholar of Professor KPR Chaudhary.
Yes, Dr. Srinivas.
Yes.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Uh,
How are you? I'm fine.
yes, fine. How is your family?
Yes, all fine, all fine.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will talk with you later.
Thank you, sir. You can leave, sir, now.
I can leave? Okay. Thank you
Okay,
very
sir.
much, madam.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much,
very
sir.
much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much.